Welcome back, YouTubers, to my channel of an everyday encounter in the typical life of an Aspie. In my last topic, I was talking about the shape-shifting in female Aspies, basically, and how many of us Aspies gets affected in the way of basically shape-shifting in a way to feel accepted and blended in, and basically how many of them may feel accepted already in their social circle, no matter what it may be, so to speak. Sometimes we have to shapeshift in different types of levels and stages in our groups, different groups of people that we socialise in, you know, different labels, the geeky, the nerdy, the popular and whatnot, just to, as I said, to fit in and blend in no matter what it may be. Some Aspies, however, tend to basically use observational skills, basically, as well as also their senses of how they're going to observe and watch and all those processes that I said of how they use their sensory inputs of their data to pretty much put it all together and see how they go about it, so to speak. Also, pretty much, I talked about the 4 stages of shape-shifting, which were pretty much observing, analysing, understanding, and reacting. So, some parts in this rings true to this day for me, how I shapeshift, basically, in our everyday life, basically. Even though many people may question about my behaviours, however, of how I go about it and causing confusion and misunderstanding, that's why I'm here right now, just to speak out my life experiences, basically, on my journey with AS and all these other hidden diagnoses that I would like to share. Anyway, let's begin with the next part of the title, Shape-Shifting of the Life Experiences, how it works for me and if it works against me or not. When I was younger, when I was in my teens, however, basically, close to my teens, socialising in high school or college at that time, I just sit alone and observe everyone, pretty much, as well as the surroundings around me. I used to be quiet and shy. Many people tend to pretty much find me basically a really awkward kind of person to talk to, despite my demeanour and behaviour towards others, sort of thing, at that moment of time. Sometimes, however, when I'm in certain environments, however, I tend to observe, as well as the people around me, it's like I said in my last part of the intake, that it's like a film strip. But I'm watching a movie, gathering all those sensory inputs, putting it all together, and hopefully maybe apply it to every day, to how I observe and react to those everyday situations, regardless what it may be, as well as watching people's body languages, no matter what it may be it like if they had their arms folded, be it if they were angry, be it if they were arguing on it. I usually end up in the end of this processing of that sensory input of basically of some form of building many different characters in my head, basically of the different emotions to different situations and scenarios, regardless what it may be. You know, imagine, like I said, watching a movie of some sort, be it a romantic, be it a comedy, be it whatever it may be. This is how it works when I work out who is who, pretty much who they are and what they are as a person and more. It's like, as the title is called, character building. Observe everything and then start creating a better understanding for myself and others around me, to how and why this is happening, to allow myself to create an image of some form of character in my head at that moment of time. I notice that there are a lot of people with different characteristic traits, so therefore there will be a lot of different people or characters in my play or film, pretty much, that I watch over and over again. Being a female Aspie, I am known as probably shy and socially awkward when at first when it comes down to socialising with people, sort of thing, and my peers, you know, regardless who it may be. I feel, as I said in my last chapter, however, basically, that sometimes I don't fit in, but that's okay, because obviously we aren't born to fit in, we are born to stand out and make use of our lives and basically hopefully make a difference in other people's lives, regardless what it be. As I said, everyone has a sole purpose in their life, whatever it may be. Many people, as I said, do doubt me or question me, or just tend to fly off their handle, thinking, what the fuck are you thinking, Karen? Why are you doing it this way? Why can't you do it that way? It's like they have to put me in a little restricted box, sort of thing, do it their way or the highway, so to speak. That's how I look at it anyway. I could be reading it wrong, but that's how it was when I was growing up. I found it really hard while growing up, while attending high school. However, many different guys and girls will ask me certain questions that requires yes or no. To this day, it still really overwhelms me when I feel pressured to answer straight away, even though sometimes I answer with a yes or no with some other bits and pieces to the question, even though they keep getting angry with me, pretty much. Sometimes, though, I just trying to think of the, circumstances or consequences that may come about with a yes or no, or some other answers to certain questions that may not require a yes or a no. As I said, it may make me end up so overwhelmed that I falter, and then get into that meltdown stage, and then it's just like, well, I didn't want to be there in the first place, as if I need a mask or something just to hide away, even though I shouldn't have to hide away. I've learned basically to try and face my fears and battles and whatever it may be. Sometimes I try to say to them that I don't know the answer to the question, even if it is a yes or no. I need an in-depth level of my answer, basically, so can you please bear with me, so to speak, even though sometimes many people do get impatient with me, sort of thing, and that's when the misunderstandings and the arguments tend to come into play with certain people, even though some people may not have the patience and understanding. As I said, some parts needs to be addressed here of certain parts of my journey so far, as well as other people's journey that may be like me with AS. I would say, however, I am getting better with my yes and no's and all these other flustering things that comes upon me, basically, when I do come to socialise with people. Even though sometimes it doesn't always happen to me in a way, though, that I expect it. But then again, sometimes when it comes down to finding people in the social circles, it would be good to try and find some with similar interests as me. But then again, it's pretty much hard, even though now I've noticed that since I've been by myself while I'm doing this book, basically I find comfort to pen to paper or screen to, keyboard to screen, as well as talking to people on these groups that I'm socialising with on Facebook, sort of thing, that makes me feel more accepted and we understand each other one way or another. While growing up, and still to this day, I started pretending to be someone that I am not, which is pretty much not good, because I used to be a people pleaser, trying to fit into their lifestyle and social circle at the time. Obviously, it was quite apparent and all that many people will see that it's like a fake me, even though like I'm trying to learn now just to be me and actually trying to be the bubbly me that I used to be, pretty much before being diagnosed with AS, even though as well as with the depression and everything else that comes with this. Sometimes, however, when it comes about socializing, I feel that I'm not any use to maybe some people. That's alright, because I feel that I'm bugging them or annoying them with my questions or my food for thought and stuff, even though many people think that it's crazy what I'm thinking. Sometimes, now and again, also, what I feel sometimes with this diagnosis of depression and everything else, I'm wearing a mask to whom what I was and not at the time being the fake, which is no ideal fun for me or others. Again, I felt like violated, alone, ashamed, sometimes I'm humiliated at the time, beginning to lose sense of what I was at that particular time. Sometimes now again I went to and go on my own business and analyse everything. I go through the processing of my character build-ups of all these people that tend to be in my circle, imagining and envisioning in my mind to then become one of those. Now, as a young adult, however, processing this pretty much with this character building is more faster as I do understand and observe, again, making more characters as I go along the way. With socialising with people in my circle, regardless who and what they are. When you see me the first time, as I said, I will be a typical quiet one, shy, socially awkward, and then the second time or more, once you do socialise with me, I will be out there, basically, and have a mind of a character on my own build and create about who I should blend in and fit into my social circle or to their needs instead of my own, which, pretty much I put people first, as I've always done in my lifetime. So that will mean, as I said, my needs will be put in the back burner, others will come into play. Even though now I'm trying to learn to take a step back and actually say no, and again, even though sometimes I'm afraid to say no. Part of me is a quiet introvert, and then now again, I could be an extrovert, depending on the situation. I'm a bit of a leeway of both, depending on who I'm with at the time, with the company. Again, observing a lot, start to figure out what others do and why they do it, form a picture on a camera film, pretty much imagine that, what their character is like. I start to think what their needs are and mirror myself towards those needs, as well as that particular person. Projecting their needs, that is how I go about finding what their needs are and making them more important to know what they are and accepted, even though sometimes many people just flick it back in my face for a waste of my time in their group. And said, I need to learn to say no and that, as well as feeling of them appreciating me being in their life. You know, sometimes some people may not appreciate me for being in their life or not, but then again, you know, everyone has a life story and a journey, basically, of what has to be said and done to share, like a little legacy, as I've learnt, pretty much. And that no matter what, you know, it might come into practice with some others around us later on. Well, that ends basically the shape-shifting of my life story to be continued pretty much, which in the next channel over of this video, it's going to be the negatives and positives of the shape-shifting, how it will affect me as well as others around me, and like maybe problem solving for the readers and advice to, you know, for you lot that are following me on this channel and more. So like I said, please like, comment and subscribe. Thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.